Hi there, this is Carrie from Stamp with CT. Welcome to our Facebook Live today. So glad you're here. If you are watching the replay, please type in replay so I know you stopped by. And if you're able to join me live, please say hello. I'd love to know who's here joining me today. I see people are hopping on. Welcome. We've got a lot to do today, you guys. I've got mailbag, I've got prize patrol, and I've got a cute project. Good morning. Hi, baby Ruth. Hope you're doing well. So glad you're here. And Judy's here. Good morning, y'all. Let's go ahead and get started. Last week I talked about doing mailbag each week. When I get a card or something in the mail, I'd like to share it with you. So I loved that this week I got 3 pieces of happy mail. So let's start by sharing that. This first one is made by Betty Tucker. We all call her Mimi though. Isn't this just adorable? So cute. And look what she did on the inside using the negative from die cutting a flower. I love this so much. And there was a sticky note that said, "This is my happy mail." And I took it out. I shouldn't have, but I thought this was really cute. I love sending happy mail and I love receiving it too. So isn't that precious? Beautiful card. Thank you, Mimi. And then this card came from my friend Judy Tuttle. And it is shiny, you guys. I love this little flower, both of those actually, because shiny is my favorite color, you know. So here is a cute little card. Now I love that she left it blank, so I can actually send this card on. I don't know that I will, because it's so cute. But I could send this on to someone else and make their day too when they go to their mailbox. So I like to do that when I send out happy mail. I leave it blank so people can use the card if they want. But I love that Judy did that too. And then I have one last piece of happy mail. This is from my friend Judy Pierce. And it is that cute book binding fold that we used. Oh gosh, that's probably been a couple months ago that I showed you guys this. And she may have already known this fold. But isn't this a sweet card? I love this paper. It was part of Celebration. So this is cute. And she did not sign hers either. So we'll see. I don't know that I could turn loose of these cards, but if I wanted to, I could send these out as happy mail to someone else. So this is darling. Thank you, all of you, for that happy mail. And next up, let me grab my prize bin because we had the art gallery ribbon, and that is the prize from last week's Facebook Live. Anyone that left a comment or shared my video was entered for a chance to win, and my friend Robbie Ginsel is the winner. So congratulations, Robbie. I'll get that in the mail to you. We're running just a little bit behind getting Prize Patrol out. Then I have a bolt of the Blushing Bride ribbon. It also has those metallic flecks, and that's our prize for this week. So if you're here, leave a comment. If you think a friend or family member would enjoy this video, feel free to share it also. That's what enters you for a chance to win. And I appreciate so much your support by leaving those comments and likes and hearts. That just really helps me know that you like my content, and it also tells Facebook that you want to see more of what I show. So I do appreciate that so much. I was going to grab the catalog before I showed you that. Let me go. I'm getting too excited. So we are using the Dandy Garden suite of products today to make our card. And it started out with a scrap of designer series paper. That's what inspired it. So on page 24 through 27 of our mini catalog is where you can find this whole suite. And it really is a mega suite because you have 2 different stamp sets, a die set and a punch. Then of course the designer series paper. I'll show you all the components to the suite, but having 2 stamp sets, dies and a punch, so they're awesome. Beautiful projects to inspire you in the catalog, and I have to admit, This was the very first suite that I purchased from the mini catalog when demonstrators could pre-order, and it's probably the last one that I actually used. And I don't know what I was thinking because it's fabulous. We're doing a class this weekend with these products, and I'm so excited about the class. It's awesome. So this is the stamp die bundle, and just this flower alone, you guys, it's so pretty. I love it so much. So I will probably be doing a class in Create with CT to go with this bundle in the next month or two. So this is one of the bundles. And then the other bundle has the Dragonfly Punch, 2 sizes of dragonflies, and then this really sweet stamp set. Now this one I've used a good bit, and it's the one we're using today, so you'll get to see these products up close. And then there's also, y'all are gonna love these if you haven't seen them already, Ladybug Trinkets. How fun is that? We'll be using one of those today. And then there's also Mossy Meadow Braided Trim. And it's just a very subtle accent that you can add to your cards. It's so pretty. I think you're gonna love this too. Okay, let's bring in a couple pieces. I didn't make a prototype this time because I was using a scrap of designer series paper kind of as my jumping off point. And I didn't show you the paper either. Let me grab my swatch book. So this paper has some designs that I have to be honest and say they're a little bit much for me. So I think that's part of the reason why initially I did not go making projects with this paper. But now that I've used it, I absolutely love it, and I've found that the B side of the couple sheets, like this one, just doesn't speak to me, and that's okay. Somebody else may love it, but look at the back of it. So I've really pretty much used every paper in this pack, and once I got it in my hands, that's when I really started, once I got it out and got it in my hands and really started using it, I fell in love with it. This is one of my favorite sheets because you can actually punch the dragonflies from the designer series paper. I was going to show you too how I keep my scraps. So I've used almost a full pack of this paper, and it does come in 6x6. I just slip my scraps down in the packaging so that when I get ready to create, if I can use up a scrap, I will. We've been talking about how we store our designer series paper in my community group, CT's Craft and Connect, and so that's how I do mine. Here is a Bumblebee card base, 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. And then we'll go ahead and put our inside panel. Y'all know I love to do that. It's kind of my first thing I do, so that I've got a really nice place to write my message. And I always say I write big, so I don't generally stamp on the inside. Sometimes I'll put a little strip of designer series paper, but if you love to stamp on the inside of your cards, go for it. You do you. I just tend not to because I do write so big. And let's burnish that fold right quick. Here's another little top folding card. That's not typically what I do, but I've just been in that mood that I want some top folding cards. Next up, I've got a piece of the designer series paper. Super pretty. Little dandelions is what they look like to me. And we will go ahead and adhere this down on our card base. I don't know that my glue's doing too good today, y'all. And I've been trying to be better about not leaving it open. Okay, let's pop this on here. And then I have a question for you, because I wasn't sure if some of these were flowers or weeds. And I was asking Dale, and he said, there is a way to tell if it's a flower or a weed. And I want to know if you guys know the way to tell. So let me know in the comments, and I'll tell you what he said in just a minute. I can't see your comments right now, but I will go back and look at what y'all said. So tell me if you know how to tell the difference. It's funny what he told me, but I guess it's true. So I'm justifying this over to the side. Doing something a little bit different today, and this was also just a scrap of Mossy Meadow cardstock that I had that worked perfectly with this piece of Designer Series paper that I wanted to stamp on. So let me bring in my stamps and some Mossy Meadow ink. Such a beautiful green color. And I also have a little scrap of this Designer Series paper that I'm going to put my sentiment on. So we'll set it aside. Let me see. I guess it really goes that way. So let's go ahead and first ink up this flower or weed. What do you think it is? When I asked Dale, he said the way that you can tell, a flower is growing where you want it to grow. A weed is growing where you don't want it to grow. So isn't that funny, y'all? He's so silly sometimes. But that kind of is true, isn't it? Okay, there's our beautiful, I think that's a weed actually, on our Designer Series paper. Let me bring that a little bit closer so you can see how pretty that is. And it just gives a little subtle touch by having that Designer Series paper in the background. Just looks a little bit different. And then let's stamp our sentiment, and I chose You Are an Inspiration. I think this is my favorite sentiment from this stamp set. I'm going to come over to the side here. And it also, because I'm using that dark green, I think it shows up really well. And I love the font. Let me close this ink pad so I don't have a catastrophe. And I'm just going to probably bring my trimmer in right quick and just snip off the end. Hope y'all can see that. So this is not, like I'm not measuring it. I'm just looking at it to tell where I want to cut it. Nothing fancy. So now we're going to place that there. And I grabbed my blends, my Daffodul Delight Stampin' blends, and I think I'm going to add just a little bit of color to the flower. Now normally when you use alcohol markers, you use Memento ink so that it doesn't run, but I'm only adding a touch of color to the little flower top, so I'm not going to worry about it. Now these markers have a brush tip and more of a fine tip. So you can use these to get in little small places if you want to. They're awesome alcohol markers. They're so easy to blend with. The fact that they come in a combo pack and you get the light and the dark makes it so easy to know how you blend. Okay, let's come in here. I'm not great at coloring, but I'm just going to add just a little bit of color to these little flowers. Just kind of brushing that on. I want them to stand out just a little bit. So that's why I'm going in. There's only a couple of them. It won't take long. And I'm usually not one to color. I got out of the lines a little bit. That's just how I roll, you guys. That's probably why I'm not crazy about coloring, because I have a hard time staying in the lines, but that's okay. Just makes it look artsy, right? So I'm going to make sure that I put the cap back on so that my marker stays good. And you always want to store your markers lying down so that the ink stays to the tip and they don't dry out. That's just a little tip for you. Okay, I think we're ready to put this on here. So this is a really pretty simple little card, but I love how it's turning out. And something funny about this card, I often dream about card making. That's funny in itself, but this kind of came to me when I was sleeping. And sometimes I have to grab a little notepad by the side of the bed to write down the idea so that I don't forget it. because a lot of times that leaves me. When I wake up, I can't remember. I know I dreamt about a card, but I can't remember how it looked. So we're going to bring in our sentiment. Y'all let me know if you dream about cards too. I think that's fun. I had a funny dream last night that I somehow bent my phone. I have no clue what that was about. Dreams are funny, aren't they? Okay. So you are an inspiration. I'm going to come across with this sentiment down towards the bottom and just barely onto those little stems. And then the next thing that I'm going to bring in is a dragonfly that I punched from the designer series paper. Remember, I told you those coordinated with the punch, so you can actually punch some small dragonflies and some large dragonflies with the punch. I love it when they coordinate like that. So of course we want to pop him up, right? Well, I may only have room for 2 dimensionals. Probably should have spread those out a little bit more, but that will work. So let's get the backings off of here. And we're almost done, you guys. So I want to bring my dragonfly in, probably right about there. And of course we need to add some Wink of Stella to our dragonfly. So we'll just brush on a little bit of shimmer to our dragonfly all over the wings and body. So pretty. And then I want to use one of our Ladybug Trinkets. So let's bring in some glue dots. And I just kind of take my nail and crunch the glue dot up just a little bit. And then put my Ladybug on there, because they're actually a tiny bit larger than the glue dot. So it shows if you don't do that. We're going to put our Ladybug right over here. And the last thing I need is a little bow from our braided twine. We'll see if my hands will make a bow today. Arthritis is rough, you guys. I was talking to somebody the other day about making a bow, and I make my loops pretty big, and then I come back in and adjust until I get it where I want it. So that's just a little tip that I have as far as making bows, especially smaller bows. Bows can be a challenge. A lot of people struggle with bow making. There are also bow making tools that you can get. And I always like to bring the ends together and snip them at the same time so that they're the same length. So let's see where I want to put this little bow. Thinking maybe down there. I may not even need a bow, but I want a bow, so we're going to go for it. So again, let me find glue dots. And that way we can add our bow and know that it's going to stay in place. I think maybe, I don't know. Where should I put my bow? Right there? Yes, I think so. Okay, there's our project for today. And I love that it absolutely came from this scrap of designer series paper that I wanted to use up. And that's what inspired this card. In a dream. How funny is that? Well, I hope y'all have a great rest of your week. I so appreciate you being here. It means so much to me. And I will see you again next Wednesday at 10 a.m. for a little time to craft and connect. Thank y'all.